Good afternoon. In this video, we are going to discuss the various forms of conflict church leaders may be required to address and suggest positive methods for addressing the conflict. And third, we're going to discuss how the conflict can ever be positive. First, we have three ways in which conflict is experienced. A, we have the interpersonal conflict, and that's where the contest one has when different parts of the self compete with one another. I want to be a beloved pastor, but I want to be a preacher who speaks the truth. B, we have an interpersonal conflict where personality differences that are not related to primary issues. I like to think of myself as a strong, independent person, but my board chair person treats me like an incompetent who must be told what to do. Then we have C, the substantive conflict, disputes over facts, values, goals, and beliefs. I think we ought to put a new roof on the church, but the Social Concerns Committee wants to open a clothes closet for the poor. Now this comes from our text on page 216. And then we're going to discuss the pastoral strategies. And these come from Larry McSwain and William Treadwell. And again, this comes from our textbook. And they first suggest that the first step once conflict is public is diffusion. First, we need to be sure everyone in the group knows the facts of the situation. Second, we need to ask someone to explain the history of the conflict. And third, we need to refer the conflict to the proper committee for discussion and recommendation. And fourth, we need to add people who can help move a conflicted group to a constructive engagement. And number 5, we need to delay action until there has been time to manage the conflict. Then after diffusion, we move on to the problem-solving analysis. First, we consider all the gathered facts, feelings, and opinions about the conflict. Second, we list our options to the problem, considering the potential positive and negative consequences of each. Third, we list each option in order of priority. Fourth, we depersonalize the option, since we are not voting on the personalities of those involved. And fifth, we develop a consensus for the option that most nearly resolves the conflict, even if it involves compromise. And as we go on, we can discuss 4 kinds of substantive conflict. And this again is by Lees and Kitlos. First, they discuss the conflict over the facts of a situation. Is there enough money to pay for the new roof? Second, they discuss the conflict over methods or means. Example, how do we find a solution to the problem? Third, conflict over ends or goals. Example, should the church involved in direct political action? Fourth, conflict in values. Should Christians ever be engaged in confrontation and agitation, or should we reconcile and peacemakers in every situation? Then we're going to go on and we're going to discuss the question asked us in our lesson. It says, can conflict ever be positive? And the answer is yes. As surprising as it may seem to be, peacemaking pastors, conflict has a positive role to play in the congregation. In conflict, a group is energized. A church with a healthy amount of tension and conflict is a live church. While gratuitous and self-serving conflict is abuse of the pastoral office. It is the preacher's duty to expose people to the demands of Scripture, to assure people that there is a force for betterment and meaning in our world, and that the preacher has a vision of something superior to the present arrangements. A given conflict may be a mixture of three types. A substantive argument over the budget, for example, may dredge up interpersonal doubts about my effectiveness as a pastor. To keep from pretending that a given conflict is substantive when it's really interpersonal, a preacher must act with honesty and self-knowledge. God bless.